It always comes to this. More nice shit. Hello there guys, back again for another tattoo progress update video today. Where I last left off, I had showed off my left finger blackouts and talked quite a bit about finger blackouts, hand blackouts in general. I don't get a chance to talk a lot about straight up blackout tattoos anymore, as I don't really interact with that type of tattooing very often, but I have done a ton of it. I've got multiple hundreds of, I don't even know how many hundreds of hours in just blackout, but almost my entire body has been blacked out more than once. So different areas have different rules, and when I have the chance to talk about these full saturation sessions, it's always, I think, a benefit to someone. There's just about no one else out there that speaks a lot about heavy black work, and certainly not in the minutia of it and the finer details. We do see a lot of these like day ones, and we see a lot of cool looking fresh blackouts online, but there really isn't a whole ton of information on it. So I've done more than my part to educate where I can on the matter. With that said, my finger blackouts are healing up, and it's been, I think this is the 4th day now. And most of what you can see here is dry spots, not skin. The only place that is skin is when you can bend, and you can see that skin in there is clearly not fully saturated still, much like my other fingers, which are still better than last time. I had no anticipation that this was going to be a perfect 4th pass. It's been 5 years since I've done them, but even then I figured it would still have some weak spots. So they're very, very dry because, as I said, this was a bit of a tumultuous session. I had a lot of weepy plasma and little spots of blood, so I went full dry on this. I still haven't lotioned this. As I said, this is the 4th day. I had these done on Saturday this week, and it's Tuesday now. And there's still one little spot here that has a little bit of a puff to it, where I can see that there's some type of like wet liquidy plasma underneath of it. And so until that's completely gone, I won't give any moisture to this thing at all, because that skin there is still easily triggered. It's easily upset, and whenever you have that kind of thin, sort of soupy looking, swampy looking skin there, it's still not dry enough yet, and you don't want to make it worse. So, but overall, really, really clean heal. It's gonna be, it'll heal exactly like this one did, even though we did more and it was immediately worse. Having it dry out and bringing the swelling down, it's gonna be just fine. And this hand will be better than the other hand, but it was anyway. And it is a different tone. I don't know if I mentioned it all at any point, but we used Panthera Black in the black pass that we did on both sets of fingers this time, where the first passes were done with Dynamic Black. We hadn't switched over to using Panthera for anything at the shop when I was doing these. And again, Panthera was lesser known at that point, and as you can see, it's not super, super black, but it is more of that gray tone as opposed to the bluer tone that's in Dynamic Black. So again, all black inks having different pigments in them. You'll have somewhat different black depending on which ink you're using, and this is how I've been able to sustainably do these black on black layers. Is the black that we're using for the new black is done with Panthera Black, and my old black was Dynamic. You can run dynamic lines over dynamic shading or solid saturation. We had done that, and it was holding up decently well, but the lines tend to smear with the old black, and it gets harder to see, whereas the Panthera Black stands apart from the Dynamic and vice versa. You can go the other way around. I've done it. You can use dynamic over Panthera as well because, again, the shades of black are more akin to, say, an orange to red or a red to pink type color difference rather than a light and dark. It's just more about a different tone. So, and also, while I'm on this topic, before I move on, I will say that black ink will not look the same in everyone. So you can use the same exact black ink on one person's skin and it can look completely different than another's because it's always going to be coming through their skin tone and their the pigments in their skin. So it's always going to be better or worse or altogether different person to person. So I had another session with Rick today. I have it still wrapped up. I normally do these vlogs more or less the next morning, but I had an opportunity, which I'll get into, to do this session today. So there's no difference in what it would look like from the video we took 20 minutes ago here. So I'm just going to put that in here, and I'll have a picture up of what we did, including pictures of the entire sleeve together. There's no, like I said, there should be no virtual difference between what we took in the back here a little bit ago and what it looks like now. Normally, I don't like to make these when I still have the blue bandage on because I like people to be able to see the work, but I'm at the shop anyway for the rest of the day, and so I figured I may as well make it now and then I don't have to come back in the morning. Our AC is not working and it's plus 36 out, so if Thermac, the company that deals with our AC, hasn't come by the end of the day to fix this problem, I will be calling tomorrow's appointments and rescheduling everyone because it's unpleasant to sit in a plus 30 environment, and the shop will definitely be plus 30 with no AC to begin with. And then when people are getting tattooed, they naturally run hotter anyway. So, for example, anytime I'm in any kind of real pain, say a torso tattoo, an armpit, rib, or throat, or even my back sessions, I tend to swell a lot. People's bodies tend to, or not swell, sorry, sweat. People's bodies tend to sweat a lot when they're getting tattooed. You run hot typically. There are people who do run cold. I typically will get the chills after a long session, but during a session, my body gets very, very warm. It's like a natural defense mechanism or something. And so it's not good to have people getting tattooed in the heat, and it's better to run your shop at a cool temperature, even if it's a little uncomfortable sitting and waiting and the in-between break moments. As soon as you get tattooed, your body should warm up if you're in decent health. So it's better to start off in a colder environment. And even tattooers, they tend to get pretty hot when they're working as well. Like Rick was sweating his fucking balls off today. It was running off his face. There was a couple times that he actually dripped on me, not on the tattoo. He was far enough away from me. He's not like this close to me for anyone who's going to be disgusted by this. I was surprised he decided to work today, but he needs the money pretty bad, and I'm happy he did, obviously. But yeah, it's going to get worse tomorrow. Our AC went down at some point this morning, and the shop is closed today. It's just me and Rick. So obviously, the two of us, we can get through it, and it's fine. But I'm not going to have paying customers in here. And it really sucks because a lot of people look forward to tattoo appointments like Christmas Day. Some don't. Some people barely show up. But a lot of people really look forward to getting tattooed. And I never want to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm not going to have people in here sweating to death while they're getting tattooed. It's an unpleasant feeling for most people anyway to be in pain, let alone to be too hot while doing so. Fans will only do so much, and it's just not good. You also get more pass-outs when people's blood pressure rises, their temperature goes up. People get sick, you know. I've seen people puke in the heat from tattoos. The worst session one of the worst sessions I ever had was I was getting a piece on my thigh done, the Witch King that Rick was working on. We did like 35 hours on that thing. And I had a 6-hour session with Rick back in the day. Yes, believe it or not, he could go that long at one point. and it was the AC wasn't working, and the sun was just cooking this place, and it must have been plus 28 in here, and I was just dying, not from the tattoo but the heat. But when you combine the two together, it just becomes an absolutely awful experience. And even I was kind of dreading when I got in here today. I was just before Rick pulled in, and I seen the AC wasn't working, and I thought, ah, fuck, I don't know if I want to sit through that. And obviously I'm a veteran at this. A lot of people coming in for their first tattoos, or they don't get tattooed very often, and you know, they want a nice experience, not a horrible one. Unfortunately, we're in brutal heat here. It's like plus 36 today. It's going to be even hotter tomorrow. In southern Alberta here, we really do get the extremes of things. It goes from, you know, minus 40 to plus 45 in our summers here. And it's usually very dry, but this year it's been super fucking humid, and that's not good for this either. There's nothing worse than feeling sticky and sweaty during a tattoo session. So if I can't get this thing straightened out in the next few hours, then I'll be making calls. Anyway, I should mention we had a really, really positive heal on my elbow. I seen that was going to be the case as it was peeling. It's never been more solid. It's never had more structure. Hopefully that callus layer doesn't come back, but again, most of my elbow is pretty calloused on both sides, and so we'll just have to wait and see. I'm not adverse to doing more layers on it if I have to. It just is what it is. We'll get there. I'm not one to give up on any of these things. The same thing, like I've done 4 sessions on these fingers now, you know, and that knuckle's still not perfect. I knew it wasn't perfect, and so did Terry. I mentioned that last time, but my fingers were already so swollen that it was just time to take a walk. Today's session, for example, when we got back into these, you can see a little bit of it in there, the suction cups and some of the new color that we put into the arm there. Rick is building in lighter tones over some of the healed tones now. So we're getting more colors than we had in the first sessions. And some of these colors can only really be achieved through layering, whether you're layering during the session or multiple passes over a section of something. There's no other way to get certain tones. Even using multiple different inks, you can't have as much range as you can if you're willing to pass things more than once and also layer things in the same session. So yeah, this video had to get split up into 2 pieces because I actually have a guy on the roof right now. So thankfully, someone is here working on the roof, and hopefully our AC will be addressed. But this week I'm supposed to have another session on my back, and I actually think it could be the last full session on my back, because I'm looking at the blue background on my back, and I keep thinking I can probably sit through that and all the highlights and touch-ups and tweaks at the same time if I really want to. And Terry will just go. He's not going to stop me. So if I want to do a big 6-hour session on my back, I think there's probably 2.5, 3 hours on the background, and then maybe another 2 or 3 hours on the highlights and stuff. So we'll see. I might do it all. I think my back is healed enough again. It's been 2 weeks, and I heal really quick. And then from there, I might just do another session on it a few months down the road when everything's settled in. Just kind of buff some things up, and we could have a 9-session back piece over black, which is pretty fucking ideal, by the way. I really want to get to a lot of other things with Terry here. I've got more things to do on this arm still. This wasn't really complete when I started working on my back. It was complete to the extent that the work is mainly done, but there's still some more tweaks I want to make and some things I want to buff up about it, which will of course mean that I'll have to do a second pass on the thorns on my neck if I do a second pass on the thorns on my arm, etc., etc. Third pass, blue highlights on the sleeve means third pass, blue highlights on the neck. And then the tentacles. I'm probably going to leave those for about a month or so on my torso before we start coloring those in, just because I'd like to take little breathers in a way from big projects. I like to, you know, finish a big project, then do some small stuff like some kind of trimming and highlights and shit like that. So hopefully hopefully that's good to go. And yeah, if not, if the AC is still not working, that session will be canceled. Anyway, it sounds like our AC just kicked on, but I got to chat with this guy about this. So this is as real world of log as it gets. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys again here soon when I'm hopefully talking to you about my back piece. Have a great day.